Hey Sainers, welcome to the Saints TV podcast special with St Kilda President Andrew Bassat. We had an awesome chat with him live in the studio. Hopefully you enjoy it. This is 25 minutes of the episode. If you'd like to watch the full episode, it's available now on Saints TV Plus. That's on www.saintstv.com.au/plus. Sign up to a monthly or yearly subscription and you'll be able to watch that among all of the other bonus content as well. Enjoy.
Saints fans, another very, very special episode of Saints TV. We are here with none other than the club president, Andrew Bassat. Welcome.
Thank you.
Very welcome, very welcome. Firstly, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you.
Doing well?
Good.
Yeah.
Better if we run on the weekend, but I'm good.
Yes, yeah, of course. I think we all associate our moods with how the Saints have been on the weekend, but I think we'll bounce back this week. We've got West Coast coming up. So hopefully it'll be a tenfold return, if not more. Now, understanding you grew up a Saint.
Yep.
So you are an out-and-out Saints supporter.
Yeah, grew up all my life. Very passionate. That's the only reason I'm involved, to be honest. So.
Yeah, where did that stem from?
Oh, look, I got involved. I was involved in the club previously, briefly on the board with Rod Butter's presidency. And I was on there for 5 minutes before that all ended. And I was very happy to be gone, to be honest, but it was a bit of a mess. But Matt Finnis got me back involved, so I was a bit reluctant to be on the board, and then I was reluctant to be president. But it's I'm actually enjoying being involved. I feel we're in the right direction, and all everyone wants is Saints success, and I do feel optimistic that it's not too far away.
Yeah, and is your whole family a Saints supporting
my dad,
crew?
Sort of.
Yeah.
My dad sort of got my brother and I into it. My brother's equally passionate, but my dad actually didn't care very much. So drop us at games, and so we got this inherited disease. But he was a light sufferer, and we were heavy sufferers, if it made sense. And my kids are all pretty keen. Keener since I've been involved.
So, how are you as a fan? Obviously, we know
shocking,
you.
Shocking.
I want to know all the ins and outs of Andrew Bassat, the Saints fan at the games. Even now, obviously being president, do you have to tone it down a little bit? Can you get out of your seat? Can you yell at the umpires? Yeah. I want to hear all that.
No, I'm really bad, to be honest, because I learned it before, and you saw me before the game. Like you didn't see me during the game. People criticise Eric. We've sat together quite a few games. I'm definitely worse than he is, but it's my problem is now that I'm involved, and you care so much. But of course, during a game, I can do absolutely nothing. I can do exactly the same as you do. So the way I deal with it is tend to yell and shout and make a fool of myself.
Yeah.
My wife, so I think I've got worse as president. My wife really didn't want me to be president. And the main reason, number one, she has not much, she doesn't really care too much for football. But number two, she was really worried I'd be caught on camera. Making an absolute goose of myself. So far, so good. And this year I've actually been better, to be honest, because we'll come to it later, I'm sure, when we talk about the new people we have at the club. I kind of feel like we're building. I kind of feel that losing a game doesn't mean that the rails are going to come off, that we're going to come off the rails. I feel we're building, and whether we win or lose, we're building regardless. And so I'm a bit calmer this year than I was last year, to be honest.
When did you go from being a super successful businessman to enter into the St Kilda Footy Club, like somewhat the inner sanctum? How did that sort of come to be?
The second version was just through Matt. Matt Moore was trying to get some help from me, firstly potentially as a sponsor, because the cupboard was pretty bare when Matt started. Obviously, he wasn't left with much there. And then I started giving a bit of help in the background, a bit of advice. We spent some time together and liked each other. And to be honest, I was really reluctant because my first experience wasn't wonderful. And, boards can be full of the wrong sort of people at football clubs at times. So when Matt's first suggested board, I was like, nah, no way. But I really did like Matt and have great respect for him. Then I met the other board members, and they felt a good group of people in low egos and very committed to what they were doing. So I agreed to join the board. And the president was, to be honest, a little bit of a case of, who wants to be president, step forward. Everyone else took 2 steps back, and I said, shit, apparently that's me. I didn't really want it, to be honest, but I'm glad I took it up. I have enjoyed it, and I feel like we know what we need to do. We're actually doing that work.
Yeah.
So I'm actually starting to enjoy it because I feel we're making progress.
Yeah. So I imagine all your friends know you as just a mad Saints person. What was their response when it was sort of announced that you got the top gig?
It's mostly you're an idiot, to be honest. Mostly, so that was the overwhelming response. Was really, you really want to do this? And I think the reality is, at President, and I think it's as it should be. Certainly, how I view it is that if things go badly, you should be at the front of the queue taking the blame. When things go well, you should be person number 100 at the back of the queue behind the players and the coaches and a whole lot of other people. So it's a bit of a no-win equation. But for me, really, the opportunity to play a role, albeit a small role, in hopefully making St Kilda a successful football club was worth the risk of failure, was worth all the pain. So for me, it was an easy decision. But most people called me an idiot. I can't remember anyone saying anything else, actually.
Did you have an idea of, I guess, the role itself? Is it harder or easier than what you thought when you got it?
Oh, it's hard, I mean, the reality, the one thing, you get a fair bit of abuse, but that's fine. I'm deaf, so I can cope with that. But the reality, and we had an AFL commissioner once, recently, and the reality is that it's, we don't have a level playing field, right? There's a lot of challenges as a football club. I think, there's 4 or 5 clubs out there that I think have got a total of, over something like $200 million in the bank, right? We've got debt, much higher earnings, and all sorts of marquee fixtures. You don't really have a level playing field. You've got to fight to get up, slide up that playing field. You've got to fight to make sure the playing field is as level as it can be at the AFL level. There's a sense that, and our starting point, to be honest, was pretty poor in terms of, we had an average list. There's this 6 to 10 trap thing that we're now trying to fight ourselves out of, and that was the findings of the review last year. We were kind of stuck in the absence of change. We were kind of stuck there. So you've got not a great list. You've inherited a lot of poor decisions in the past. You don't have a great financial position. So it's not like, the starting point for fans is if you don't win this week, that means the president must be an idiot and the coach must be an idiot and everyone must be an idiot. If you don't win a flag, everyone's idiots as well. But, it's not an easy competition. We don't have natural advantages. We're trying to create them. So we are serious about success. For me, anything short of us being successful in my stint, I've failed. I'm not doing it for the fun of it, but it's a hard slog to create those advantages and give yourself that shuttle up.
Yeah. And you do have to make the tough calls a lot of the time as a president, and we saw that coming out of last year with Brett Ratton. It's been widely publicised, the process of Brett Ratton and the exiting of him, but the entry of Ross Lyon, where did that seed start growing?
Yeah, look, and by the way, it's, you talk about hard decisions. By far, I've had, made decisions in my business life, but geez, by an order of magnitude, the decision on Brett was the hardest decision I've ever made. Yeah. The one that least comfortably with me, and probably, I've talked about this before. Brett's a beautiful, beautiful person. The impact that decision had on him, that had on his family, I've thought about every day. So, it was really tough. But at the end of the day, during the course of the year, I spent a little bit of time with Ross, but I knew he was out there. And you saw the reports about Essendon interest and other clubs interested. Really, as I went through the review, and the review was really me spending 3 or 4 months pretty much full-time at the club, speaking to hundreds of people inside the club, outside the club, really trying to understand just the fundamental questions. Are we genuinely on track to be contending, or are we just kidding ourselves? And to be frank, the review came back, no, at the moment we're just kidding ourselves. Yep. I sort of knew Ross was out there, and when I looked at what we needed at our football club, and I knew Ross's attributes, partly through knowing him, but also through a bunch of people who played under him or knew him very closely, the attributes he had were so what we need, and it was going to be really hard for us to build around with Brett, even though he had other strengths. What I felt we needed was pretty clearly much more sitting in Ross's capability set than in Brett's capability set. So it became we dramatically increase our chances of success over the next few years if we make that change. Yep. And as brutal as it was, and as much as I wanted to not make that decision, it was really, really hard not to say that's the job of myself, that's the job of the board on behalf of our members, is to give us the best chance we can of success. And that clearly seemed to be the case with Ross rather than Brett. And I don't mean to, so I'm trying to just have one question to avoid the harder questions. So I'm just giving a really, really long answer.
That's great.
Yeah. But I don't want to be seen to be slagging Brett at all. He's a beautiful person. He's got a lot of attributes as a coach. I just didn't feel with where we were with our list in our club, he was going to get us where we need, and the board supported that, and the steering committee, including Simon and the rest of them, supported that very strongly by the end of the review.
Yeah, we saw that from Grant Thomas coming in when he had his tenure as coach, and that really improved the club out of sight compared to the past 5 years before him after the 97 grand final. So I think that's really encouraging for the fans to hear that.
Well, I don't know Grant well, but he gave me a hard time for a long time, actually.
Yeah.
And then after I made the change, actually 2 months after I made the change, I think it was, he sent me a very, very nice note. Actually, sent me a couple of nice notes. Said, finally, well done. He actually said to me, I didn't think you had the balls, but well done. And finally, you're done with mediocrity and you're in the premiership business. And I think there's an element we've all been on a journey, including the club.
Yeah.
I think we are serious, and we know that to be serious, we can't be as nice as we were. We can't be accepting things that aren't good enough. And the decision we've made is to absolutely go hard and to try to be successful on field as soon as we can.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I reckon we might take a bit of a break now and we'll get stuck into some Jakey's junk mail, but that was just a brilliant segment.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, beautiful. Let's do it.
Jakey's junk mail. Jakey's junk mail. Jakey's junk mail. Jakey's junk mail.
It's a big plug.
Yeah, I just turned up the Jakey's junk mail a bit. I always like it when the guests come in and hear it, and it's one of their favourite tunes. But you're a lot more forgiving than Eric Banner was, I'll tell you that. He wasn't so sure of the music. But regardless, let's get stuck in.
Yep, over to the fans. Let's see what they've got to say. This one is from Jim. He's asking, can you see us bringing in a home and away game to Moorabbin in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I think I'd like us to do it. It'd be really, the romance of it would be wonderful. I think there's a bunch of logistical issues that make it hard. So I think, we haven't given up on it, but I think it's less rather than more likely.
Yeah. Tim's mentioning we've put in a place of a coaching structure that's top-notch, probably one of the best in the AFL, I'd argue. We are prioritising young talent. Facilities are great. What would you say are the final key pillars, be it on-field or off-field, to implement that give us the best opportunity of achieving the ultimate success?
I'm going to take that question a bit differently. Look, I think we've got ourselves in a position now, thanks to the work by many people, to get us back to Moorabbin and get our finances in better shape, that we can now spend the soft cap, spend the hard cap, be a destination club if we're showing progress on the field. So it really is about football now. Mm-hmm. What we found, effectively through the review, was, to be frank, we had a bunch of issues with our list, but we also had a bunch of issues with our program. But it's much easier to fix the program first.
Yeah.
Optimise the lists, learn about the list, and then fix the list, if that makes sense. That's kind of the strategy, which I hope answers the question.
Yeah, I think it does. Ben's asking, after the success of the 150th game at the MCG, are we looking to potentially play more home games at the MCG?
Yeah, it was successful. There's at least one board member, Adam Hilton, who's great. I'd love to see us play more games. There was made money. We had a win, of course, and it was good games, good to get us some experience on the ground. I think we're open to it. There's some complexity with our arrangements with Marvel. There's some complexity with the MCG that means it may not be possible, but I think we're open to it, certainly.
Yeah.
Is it true that we made more money playing the Essendon game than we did, say, going up to Cairns?
We did. Look, yeah, I think we did pretty well out of the Essendon game. That's correct.
Yeah, Richmond's a lot closer, isn't it?
And we won. And
yeah,
it was a lot closer. It was a lot less wet. So,
yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
It was good.
This one's a bit more of a serious question. When we finally win that elusive second flag, what beverage will you have on hand?
Apparently my whole cellar's going, so I've got a decent cellar. So I think the deal I've got with a number of people is, sure, you can come into my cellar for the after party, but I need 20 minutes to remove probably a dozen bottles, which I'll hide, but otherwise it's fair game. So I think we'll be drinking plenty of beverages. So we talked the other night about all the clubs that won, they won 6 flags in their lifetime. Like, my point is, yeah, but the party when we won will be so much better than yours,
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a month long, probably.
I keep saying I'm going to be ridiculously emotional on the night, and I'm going to be crying so many tears that dehydration levels will be putting me in hospital.
We all will. No one will know. That's right.
Yeah, that's it. But and then I think I'll become a morning person.
Yeah.
I'll wake up content.
So I feel for those Hawthorn fans who won so many flags, another flag, they just shrug their shoulders. This is nice for us. How special would the second one be? So
yeah.
Well, it's like having a packet of Maltesers in a way, isn't it? You know, you get down to the final 3 or 4 and you really cherish each bite, you know, as opposed to the full packet where you're just eating them and you don't even care about the flavour. You got to really...
Yeah, I
don't know where I'm going with that one.
I haven't used the Malteser analogy, but I get it. Yeah.
I'll take that.
I thought you were going to say like the Malteser being the Hawthorn. There's so many of them, but so after a while you just get used to them.
That's my point. Is a full packet versus the final 3.
But whereas we've got like a Kinder Surprise, and you just savour that.
The nice thing about St Kilda fans is, we talked about this at the 150th, is our relative lack of success hasn't dimmed the passion. If anything, it's made it more fierce and the hunger more fierce, and therefore the reward when it's paid off, hopefully more enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Brendan's asking, which player are you most excited to see under Ross that hasn't played yet? Maybe playing Sandy.
Yeah, it's I can't really answer that. It's, you know, there's a few guys running around. There's a few older guys we haven't seen play this year, like Jack Billings and McKenzie and Jones, and who have missed really in terms of that midfield depth and some of the speed from someone like Jones. And then there's younger players like Houghton and Keeler and Van Ness, and you know, I'm hopeful we can get some decent players out of those guys.
Yeah. Lucky last. This is from Stephen Baker.
Stevens, I played a lot of cards with Stevens.
Okay, so
maybe that's what it's... Well, because I've included this because I actually didn't know what it meant, but you'll obviously know the context behind this. He said, the great man, ask him about him bad beating me all the time at Warnie's old games.
Yeah, it's not a bad bet. I'm just a better player, Steve. You've got to cop that. He's a much better footballer. And I better be careful. He's also much tougher than I am. But yeah, I reckon I've got him covered in poker.
Yeah, you're pretty good?
Yeah, no, I just reckon he's not that good. So I'm just better than Bakes. He bluffs too much.
Yeah.
He gets this look when he bluffs that he tries to scare you into folding. So
it doesn't scare you though. Yeah.
So fans, if Stephen Baker says to you after the match, I'm heading to the cast, do you want to come? You say no. I'm not going with you.
I shouldn't say I love Bakes. He's the best bloke. He's a really, really good bloke, and he was a wonderful player for St Kilda. But I think we finished at poker at about 3 o'clock one night, and we've had quite a few drinks. And it was very flattering. He puts his arm around me, he goes, "Bass, you and I are going out to the town for a drink." And I was flattered. I thought about it for 30 seconds. I go, nah, there's not much upside out there.
No, definitely not. Not with Bakes.
I'd like to see Tom Highmore get a crack at some
stage.
stage.
It's the tough thing for Tom is he's going great in the twos. I know that. He's a great kid. He's a really great kid. Who does he replace in the back line that's going pretty well? You know, the forward line's been kind of decimated, but the back line, who does he replace? And I think that's been the challenge for Tom.
For sure.
Yeah.
And sort of going back to like with our growth off the field, do you think that we're kind of doing everything we can to really capture that, you know, the Portsea to Port Melbourne's market?
Yeah, I think we're doing a lot more down that path. So, you know, there's no doubt we're, you know, it's clearly part of an enunciated strategy, not just for fans, but actually also for players. And we've talked about that, the Bassat strategy. So, yeah, I think we're making good progress down that path.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
And now, I think might have been over when we were getting Ross Lyon end of last year. Tom Brown, he was always at the club. He was outside in the bushes at one point, I think.
Yeah, he was outside bushes at my house.
Hiding under your desk. He was doing all sorts of things, Tommy Brown. Who's the most balanced, I guess, or the most positive commentator / reporter about St Kilda? Is it Tom Brown? Is there someone else that always just pumps up the tires?
I never said Tom Brown was balanced. Actually, I don't mind Tom, to be honest. He was certainly diligent in catching us out a few times.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be a bit biased. You know, people like Joey Montagnon, of course, is a St Kilda man, so he tends to err a bit positive. I just find him on every club, a really balanced reporter who doesn't say negative stuff. Some of them say negative stuff for the sake of it.
Yeah.
You know, really like Joey just saying what he believes, whether that's positive, whether that's negative, but he has balanced views. He's very smart. So, you know, Joey stands out.
Yeah.
Nick's not around this year. Nick was a very good commentator as well. So I'm gravitating to the Saints guys, but that's my job, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
that's true. Yeah.
I feel like it's those who have had the unfortunate past of not reaching the glory of a premiership that are very, very balanced when they do go into the media. So I think you're right in saying that. And the other one, I think that I think about Brad Johnson in that respect, but then I think he got bitter after 2016.
He seemed to hate us, doesn't he? I don't know who kicked his cat or something. It was probably Stephen Baker, actually.
Brilliant. Well, boys,
don't you wrap it up yet, mate?
No, you got more.
Joyce, you're the king of wrapping up a little bit early, but I would just like to know who's one Saints administrator or staff member that externally us Sainers wouldn't really know about, but from yourself, deserves a little bit of a recognition or a pump up?
You're putting me on the spot. I hate doing this because I'm going to regret whoever I say. But the reality is that, I go back to the point I made before. There's a bunch of people around the club. Some are lowly paid, some are volunteers, who just do this work tirelessly and in some ways thanklessly, because they love the club and they love to be part of it. And every club is made up of this. And when I say I've been really very much humbled by, it gets to be the president, it's got a bit of status associated with it. Really, it's all those people who love the club and do their jobs without really anyone noticing it. That makes sense. So they're the things that make up the fabric of a football club, and there's plenty of them.
Yeah, fair enough. And so I meant to ask this earlier, but the AFLW program, how's that chugging along in your eyes? And I guess just your overall thoughts on and message to Saners that perhaps haven't got onto it yet. What would you say to them?
Yeah, we served a bit of a tough timing, pill in terms of we sort of came in. We didn't get the best players that were available then. We didn't get many draft concessions, so it's been really hard to build a list and be competitive. So it's been tough. We've been able to recruit quite well this year.
Oh yeah.
So we feel we should be more competitive. And the coaching program that Nick and Tess and the others are putting together is really strong, and the girls are really bought in. So I'm hopeful we'll start seeing some more competitive efforts from the girls, and just get behind it, Saints fans. They're wearing our jumpers. They're a really committed group. Yeah. And we've got 2 teams now, and hopefully they'll both get the support of our fans.
And I guess on your journey as well, from 2018 to now, have you had any sort of mentor, or is there a key influencer that's kind of taken you under your wing or helped you out along the way? Is there someone you call after
really, I hate
day?
those questions, and I get asked this a lot in the business context. In reality, I probably learnt more from negative example of that made sense. A bunch of people, like my original managers were, okay, this is what I shouldn't do. if I don't want to piss off all my employees, there wasn't too much, this is what I should do, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, not really. You learn from everybody you talk to, whether that's someone above you or someone you talk to. But there's no one who's just stood out as, as the shining light. But, learn from everyone, and it's hard to pick out one person.
I'm curious. This is just more for my curiosity. But are you a big general football fan? Do you watch games on the weekend? Do you go home and just turn on Fox Footy?
Sort of depends. After I've won, I watch all the other games. After I've lost, I'm just too miserable. I don't want to think about football. So I probably watch. If I'm not busy, I'll probably watch a game, or I'll have my phone on, because all the results sort of now affect us, and I am interested in football. So I'm a pretty big football fan. Yeah. And I'm looking at the impact on our club.
And did you play football at all when you were younger?
Yeah, I played football. I played more rugby. I played rugby into my 40s actually. So I loved rugby, so that was my sport. But I played football. A bit of Ajax, but I was pretty average. I was quick, and I went in hard enough. I never trained, and my skills were pretty average. So Jason Daniels would probably be the best analogy without the red hair.
Jack Daniels.
I was pretty average. So I played a pretty low level of football.
Well, just a message to Saints people, because this has been really awesome to have you come on and just talk about things that are St Kilda. The mic is yours. What would you like to say to the fans out there?
Just stick with us. Be patient. I can't tell. The only reason I'm at this football club is to see us have success. I really feel as though these things don't happen easily. I really feel as though we're still pushing uphill. And we all need to push, right? Everyone needs to do their bit. I'm doing my bit. The fans, the members are doing their bit by paying their membership. You guys are doing your bit by the support you give. Everyone, the players and the coaches doing their bit. We just need to keep pushing. It really feels like we're not too far from the top of the hill. Yeah. And the beautiful thing, when you get to the top, you start getting momentum, and it's a wonderful thing, and enjoying yourself. It really feels close. Mm-hmm. We've done the hard work off field. We've done some hard stuff on field. It feels like we're pushing in the right direction, and then these things can really move forward. Just stick with us, keep pushing, keep doing your job, be patient, be supportive. We'll get there, and I promise you we're working hard to get there right now.
Love it.
We've all got the tingles.
Yeah, that's tingles.
We've all got the tingles. It feels good.
I'm going to watch that on replay.
How good would it be, boys? How good would it
be? We've chatted about it tirelessly. We talked about it with Eric, saying that what would you do once we won? And he was like, we've got to do everything. He said, yes, I'd be invited to the parties with the boys and whatnot, but
Bassat cellar.
Bassat cellar, I'd be there.
I think he knows the code, unfortunately. Yeah. I won't even get the good bottles out. Yeah.
But he said, I'd also be on Ackland Street. I want to see you boys for a beer. So what's the celebrations going to be like?
To be honest, I'm making jokes about the celebration, but we're focused on the work to get us there. But the point is that, we've won one flag in 150 years. So I think number 2 will be really, really, really special. And the people that remain with us are hardcore and really care. And so sharing it with you three, sharing it with everyone that, and that's the first time you see everyone after you've won the flag. That's going to be special times 1,000 people, right, or more. So I'm really just looking forward to we've shared the pain. Sharing the joy in whatever format that might be, over a drink or not over a drink.
Yep. Beautiful.
Very good.
All right, well, we'll wrap it up there. Saints fans, thanks for listening in again to Saints TV podcast. Thank you, Andrew, for coming in.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for the support of the club.
Of course. Week in, week out, we'll be here and we'll support you through every endeavour. So thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Very welcome. All righty. Go Saints.
Go Saints.
Up the Saints.
Thank you.
Saints food,